Good morning, everybody. Now, it's a grim day in the United Kingdom, and if you've woken up, you probably heard the news that the energy price cap has increased to £3,549 per year for the average electricity and gas bill, which is an increase of 80% on what it was between April and October, the first when it's going up, which is an increase on what it was in the winter beforehand. So in a year, energy prices have gone up threefold from about £1,200 to £3,549. And the vast majority of households and families simply aren't going to be able to cope with this. It's just far too much for them to be able to pay, whatever anyone says about it, whatever threats people make, whatever small dribbles and crumbs of help the government gives us in order to try to look good, to alleviate the suffering and pain they have caused by their insane policies. It isn't going to help a lot of people enough. And it is therefore all of the parties in Westminster, fake Conservative, Labour, Lib Dem, Green, SNP, have all been pushing the climate alarmist narrative, and the fake Conservatives obviously have been in charge, but supported by the other parties as well, have been dismantling our energy infrastructure. So no wonder we don't have enough energy, and it's going to cost us a hell of a lot more for sporadic intermittent energy from wind and solar, which doesn't provide any electricity when the sun stops shining and the wind stops blowing. I've said that many times, and many other people have said that many times, but they're still going ahead with this net zero policy, which is driving up energy prices, and they won't admit it at all. But that's what it is. The fake Conservatives have closed 11 of our 14 coal power stations in the last 7 years. They haven't provided the money to keep open the huge gas storage facility at Rough in the North Sea, which would have made a huge gas reserve that could have lasted us months and then kept the energy price a lot lower, because gas obviously is needed for gas, but 60% of our electricity at the moment comes from burning gas in gas power stations, because they've closed down the coal power stations and because the wind and solar farms they put up don't provide enough energy. But they just want more of it. They're talking about more renewable energy, more solar and more wind is the way to solve the problem. No, it's not. That's the thing that's caused the problem in the first place, and this adherence to net zero ideology. That is something that can be fixed, and it can be put right, not immediately, but over the next 10 years. We need to rebuild our energy infrastructure. We need to, first of all, reopen the coal power stations that haven't been blown up, because some of them have literally been blown up. That's what they've done. But there are a couple of power generators at Drax which are unused. They could immediately be reopened and start to burn coal. That would give us another 4 gigawatts of power in the grid, which is about 10% of our energy needs. Immediately, they could do that. Why has nobody done that? They could reopen the storage facility for gas at Rough in the North Sea, but they haven't done that. They're talking about it, but they haven't done it yet. And that would perhaps come online in January, but that's too late for this winter. They're taking deliveries of liquid natural gas from Australia, but there's nowhere to store it in the UK. So they're going to unload it here, and they're going to send it through pipelines to the Netherlands and then hope that we're going to get it back from them in the winter. Yeah, come on. Yeah, pull the other one. That's just not going to happen. Once it's gone, store it in the Netherlands and Germany. When they've got an energy crisis, do you think they're going to give it back to the UK? I don't think so, but that's what they're touting as their plan. It's absolutely insane. Even a child could tell you this isn't going to work. A child has more intelligence than the average fake Conservative, Labour, Lib Dem, Green, or SNP, NP, I think. Of course, as I've said before, the second thing that's causing the problem is there's nothing we can do about. That's the lockdown and the 400 billion extra pounds of debt that Rishi Sunak and Boris Johnson have got the country into. And Rishi Sunak there saying, I won't get us any extra debt because that's going to cause inflation. He's the one who's caused the inflation by inflating the national debt by 25%. I mean, this is gaslighting, extraordinary, par excellence, extraordinary gaslighting from Rishi Sunak, saying he's not going to do the very thing that he's done to cause the problem, or one of the problems, which is the devaluation of the pound through the increase of national debt, for the totally unnecessarily draconian response to whatever virus was there, SARS-CoV-2, in April 2020, which didn't need locking down, masking everybody up, injecting everybody, and so on and so forth. We should have just carried on normally and naturally, like a lot of countries around the world who are in less of an economic hard, devastating situation than we are in the UK. And of course, the third thing, which the Johnson regime, Truss and Sunak, the two contenders for Prime Minister, are completely pushing is the situation in Ukraine. Now, technically, we're not at war with Russia, so we shouldn't be speaking like we are at war with Russia, but that's what they're talking like. Liz Truss said at the beginning she wants to cripple the Russian economy, and both of them are talking about we're going to continue this until Ukraine is victorious. Well, that's an indication that they're getting involved as this is a proxy fight between the West and Russia. Of course, the UK is just part of NATO, and they're going along with everything, and the Biden administration and so on, and the deep state people in the Council for Foreign Relations and or bodies like this who want to prolong a war of attrition. But of course, the longer they do it, the longer this is going to go on, the more Ukrainian conscripts are going to lose their life, along with the actual National Socialist hardcore people who wear these National Socialist symbols all over their bodies and flags. I don't have any sympathy for them, but the poor boys who are getting conscripted and forced to go in to the front lines are going to lose their lives unnecessarily. And that is because Western leaders like Johnson and others want to continually go to Kiev and have photo opportunities and stand in front of a blue and yellow flag and say, we stand with Ukraine and we're going to continue this conflict, when we should be trying to de-escalate and end the conflict. Because of course, the longer that goes on, the more it's going to affect energy prices, which are directly linked into this. Now, it's too late now to stop what's coming. I think probably Putin is going to completely shut off gas supplies to the European Union and the UK at the end of September. And I wouldn't blame him, because he calls Western nations hostile nations or unfriendly nations, which is exactly what Western nations have been. If we'd have stuck to the Minsk Accords, the Minsk agreements, this whole conflict would not have happened. But it hasn't. The Minsk agreements haven't been stuck to, and then it's happened. And no one seems to have shown any kind of understanding of this in the West, apart from Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary. He seems to be the only Western leader with any modicum of sense. So if we'd have sort of done that, stuck to them, this wouldn't have happened. But now we need to get round the table and figure this situation out, to stop the conflict and to end the situation that could blow up into a nuclear conflagration, which is even worse. That would make our energy troubles look like child's play. But they're not child's play for people who are facing financial destitution, and we need leaders who are not going to continue the insanity of doing the things that have caused the problem in the first place. You're not going to get that from Liz Truss. You're not going to get that from Rishi Sunak. You're not going to get that from Keir Starmer. Hopefully, you will get that from me if you join me in the Heritage Party, which we've set up to be an alternative on the ballot paper to Conservative, Labour, Lib Dem, Green, SNP. Wherever you are in the country. This is the time where the sort of rubber is hitting the road on all of the terrible policies that they've had and how they're actually going to affect individual people's lives. We need to change this, and we need to change this quickly. There will probably be a general election soon. I mean, the date will probably be May the 2024, but it may be sooner. I don't know. Everything is now in the air again. There's a lot of, things are bubbling around, and things are not certain as to how they're going to go in this country. Now, what my hope is that whenever the next general election happens, enough people will join me to stand as candidates in all 650 constituencies, and that we will be able to form a good government which is on the side of the people, which will put people first and not the ideology of climate alarmists. We put the British people first, not Greta Thunberg. We put the British people first, not Volodymyr Zelensky. We put the British people first, not Anthony Fauci or Professor Neil Ferguson. And that's what the Heritage Party wants to do. So please come and join me. Join me at heritageparty.org. Thank you, everyone.